Welcome back to Day to Daidrien. I'm sorry. Day to Day with Daidrien. I'm sorry, I haven't had my coffee this morning.
That's my fault.
I have my sister with me, As. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited and I'm so proud of you and I'm ready to jump right on in.
Let's do it.
It's my fault for the no coffee because I was so late.
How was that drive over here?
You know what? It's not too far from my division office. It's like right 2 minutes from the division office. So the drive wasn't as bad as I was thinking it was going to be. Mm-hmm. And so now that I'm here, I'm like, this was great. This was fine.
This is worth it.
I was complaining the whole time. I feel so bad.
How's the business going for you? How's real estate?
Man, it's going good. It's going busy. Like, you see how busy I am all the time. And even after this, I was like, oh my gosh, and then we have to go here and then I have to do that. So I'm glad that we're here and I made the time for it because, like,
Absolutely.
you know, that's life. You got to be supportive.
You gotta be
supportive. You got to
like
be
that.
So I'm pushing back some stuff so that we can get it done and enjoy our
enjoy the day.
Yeah.
Hit the gym after this. Yeah. Get some food, breakfast, some coffee.
This made me want to make it a priority to put, you know, it's hard for me sometimes to like make the time. Okay. Like that's like just, it's sometimes I'm like, okay, I have to get this work stuff done first. Like I can't make the time for anybody, like, you know, but I'm glad that I did. And I know that there's been so much going on in our lives revolving around like making the time and not making the time. So I'm glad that we are making the time. Yeah.
It's always important. That quality time.
Yeah, we have to.
All right, so I'm gonna put you in the hot seat real fast.
Put me in the hot seat. Throw me right in there. Let's go right on in and
let's dive right
toss
into
me
it.
in that shit.
Okay, so you know I know like in the past you've always been very honest with me and you helped me out and gave me great advice. You know, especially when it came to my dating life because I wouldn't know as much if it wasn't for you. So what would you say? How would you? If you were to, I'm sorry, let me see. I'm going to formulate this question because sometimes it can be a little bit confusing. But how would you create a safe atmosphere for a man to feel like a man so that he can be the man that you need him to be?
Oh my gosh. You dived right on in. Like you were not, I don't know what I was expecting and it wasn't that. This is a really good question. I think that both genders, and I think we kind of talked about this before, like both genders have to put in the effort to understand each other. That way a woman can do what it is that she would need to do to make a man feel comfortable and vice versa. It kind of comes down to that conversation we had about like how different genders deal with stress and why people end up, you know, a lot of times not able to work it out. It's because when a man is really stressed out, he's producing more testosterone. When a woman is stressed out, she's producing more estrogen. So when you're producing way more testosterone, that is a completely different reaction. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like when a man is producing much more testosterone, his answer is like, he doesn't want to sit and mope around about it. He doesn't want to talk through his problems and be snuggled. Like he's like in this like tough testosterone mood. And then when a woman is producing estrogen, when she's stressed out, she wants a shoulder to cry on. She wants that. And she wants to like have someone that is communicating with her and like talking through all of the issues and things like that. And so I think if women and men both kind of understand each other a little bit, because like that saying like men are from Mars and like women are from Venus is so accurate. Like it's so easy for men and women to just completely like not understand each other. I think it just comes down to like, are you going to put in the effort to understand a woman, and is that woman going to put in an effort to understand the man so that both parties can feel comfortable, both parties can feel like they have that support system. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So I think, and that's actually a good point that you just said about a woman trying to understand a man.
It has to go both ways.
It has to go both ways.
It does. Yeah. You know, because, and I'll use like an example. This is kind of like not necessarily the same thing, but like I have a friend now who she's going through something with her boyfriend, and they, you know, went through their breakup, and she came to me because they, you know, he was wanting to get back with her, and she was like, you know what, I can't get back with him because he hasn't changed, and he's not doing the things that he needs to do to change for me and be better for me. And I told her, I said, okay, both people have to change. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, okay, so let's say like everyone has to kind of make that change, because let's say that he comes back. He's going to come back and you're the same person. He changed and did all these things to learn and be better and be the best boyfriend he can be. And then he comes back, but you're still doing things that weren't the necessarily the qualities that he liked either. Like, are
Right.
both people willing to change it? It's a relationships. It's a very,
You know,
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna piggyback off that.
okay.
Do you think, okay, in a point of separation, okay, do you think that it's easier for the person who walked away, who chose to walk away? Do you
No.
think it's easier for that person?
No.
Because honestly, being on the receiving end, like I thought, like, man, I know this is probably easy because she's the
No.
one that chose to walk away.
No.
So seeing it from your point of view, is
From someone who's walked away.
walked away, yeah. Is it? Do you
No.
think it's just as hard? Because you've been on
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
ends of it.
Yeah.
So do you think it's harder for the person to walk away?
Absolutely. If a woman walks away, I do want to say this: women don't like walk away until it's kind of like when you're eating at a restaurant. Like, and women typically will stay in the relationship until they are just full from the table. They can stay in a relationship for a year, 2 years, 3 years. A lot of times women are very forgiving and they put up with so much and they don't get up from the table until they're full. So they've put up with so much for so long. So no, I don't want to say that it's easy unless they are in a position where they have just put, like in my situation where I was just putting up with something for so long. But even then, it's not like it was just like easy for me. I was heartbroken for years, actually. I mean, it wasn't even like there was no love anymore. It's not like there was no love. It's not like I walked away because I didn't love this person anymore. It was because I was full. You know, I ate so much. I had all the appetizers too, you know, and I just was like, you know what? I'm full. Like, I can't stuff my stomach any more than I have right now. But that doesn't mean that I won't get hungry again, if that makes sense. So it doesn't mean that that person, like, I know your situation. It doesn't mean that that's like, oh, it's over forever. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what that is. Like, you know, like I said before, like, if both parties are willing to put in the work, just like there was things that wasn't, you know, a good quality about you, do you have those qualities as well that you were willing to change? It has to be both sides. I wouldn't even say that I don't love that person anymore. Even to this day, it's been years, but I still have so much care for them. I still love them. I still want to see them succeed and prosper. And it wasn't like there was no love there. Like, I still feel like, you know what, I left, but it was not like just something that I just wanted to do. Like, no, I don't really think any woman just wants to like leave, you know?
So in that point of no contact when you walk away, right? Did you always, let's just say, leave that door open in hopes to hear from that person eventually, or did you just cease all communication and block?
No, I did not cease all communication because I think that that's cruel. So I didn't want to be like, oh, it's over, ghosting, you know, ghosted. No, I didn't want to do that. It was more of like, hey, this isn't working out for me.
Right.
And I don't think that they took it as serious until it had been some time and they were like, oh, you know, but it doesn't mean that I didn't, even now, like, if they were to reach out and they needed something, if they were stranded on the side of the road, I don't really think that you should I don't really think you should, and maybe I'm the wrong person to ask, but I don't really think you should just completely just like kind of like, unless you've had that communication, like, hey, I need some time. And you're probably not going to hear from me. Cause I have like stopped communication, but it's like, hey, like, I need some time. So for like a month or two, like, you're probably not going to hear from me, and you might not hear from me even after that. But you know what I mean? Like, at least having that kind of communication. I like to have good communication skills for the most part. Okay.
So let's just say, for instance, you took the time away and you worked on yourself and you bettered those qualities for yourself to be better in a relationship. When do you think would be a good time to reach out? Because eventually somebody will have to do it, right? Years down the line, months down the line, you know, how would you know when you'll be ready to reach back out or try again before you just completely move on?
I don't know if I would reach out.
Yeah. Okay.
If I took the necessary steps to really change as a person and have that growth, which is the goal, right? I don't know if I would reach back out to my past, especially if I felt like they didn't change as a person. Like I really do believe, like, I'm not saying you have to ghost them, but I do believe in, like, I don't really like going backwards because to me, like, a lot of times people from your past don't change. Like, it's kind of like whenever people, they get back together with their exes and then they still keep having issues. You know, like I have a friend like that now where her and her ex, like, it's just a never ending, like, they take a break and then they back, but it's still the same issues. So you know exactly what you're going to get unless you see or notice that that person has changed.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? And if I did see, but how would I know at the same time? You know, like, how would I know if I'm not around you? But if I, you know, see that there's change and we both have changed, I would be willing to, you know, possibly try it again, possibly see where things go. But it's like a gray area there, if that makes sense. Yeah. It's like a gray area.
Would you consider yourself to be a spiritual person?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. So are you familiar with a karmic cycle?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I just got onto that, you know, in the past, I'm going to say a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know what it was, but, you know, here I am, you know, trying to better myself, and I come across a karmic cycle, and I'm like, start looking into it.
I love that you're educated. I'm so proud of you. I know I say that all the time, but I am so proud of you. Like, you have just grown so much as a person just over the years. I'm just so freaking proud of you. But
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I know that's so off top. I didn't mean to just go off the rails there, but I'm so proud of you.
I really appreciate that.
It takes a lot to go through something and be like, what is it that I could have learned from this? What was my lesson to have be learned? Right. You know, a lot of people, they don't ask those questions, you know, even in life. And I think that that's really important that you do that. You're going to go so far with that mindset, because even in career, even in relationships, even just with yourself, if you go through something in life and you ask yourself, like, what is it that I needed to learn from this? Like, I went through this for a reason. Why? Right. Let me find out why. How could I grow from this? Like, I'm just so proud that you're even, like, I've never heard of I did some deep dive on karmic cycles. Like, oh, wow.
Because, you know, I believe that, you know, if you don't know, because I feel like as a person, everybody is responsible for finding out the truth. Yeah. And if you don't, then the cycle will repeat itself, you know, because you have people who are consistently attracted to people who are not good for them, right? And you're going to keep doing that if you don't reassess and go through your karmic cycle and realize the patterns and events and emotions that keep appearing, you know?
Absolutely.
You know, and they keep appearing, and you must know what you have to do to break those negative cycles, or it's going to keep happening to you. So I feel like, you know, that when I went through what I went through and reevaluated and not judge, you know, and actually sit through that, because a lot of people are not going to sit through that kind of pain. You know, they're going to find distractions. But, you know, I try to better myself because I felt like she deserved that.
That is so.
I feel like she deserved that because, and I'm not really big on going back either, but at the same time, I've never had anybody to go back to. So my situation is a little bit different, you know. And I would like to try to at least, you know.
So proud of you. Who's older here? And I thought I was the big sister. You're talking a little bit too wise for me right now. Okay.
I had to learn from somebody, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had to learn from somebody. But, you know, just like you in your situations, how you would want to figure out why so that you don't make the mistake again. Yeah. Right. And I think I think that's extremely important. And I would like to at least try or figure it or try again before I completely move on. Because like I said in one of my first podcasts, I have to apply that mindset that I have to everything. You know, just because it didn't go good does not mean that it's the end all be all. Yeah. You know, so, you know, I probably want to put myself out there one more time. That's why I said, like, what's a good time to reach out? Because, like, you know, it's been a while. It's been a little bit too long. It's been a little bit too long. You know.
So do you still think of her?
I think about her. I'm reminded of her consistently. Consistently. You know, and I'm gonna be honest with you, and I've actually tried to clear my head of that.
Yeah.
But it's like things that just kept happening. Like I'm even trying to think about you right now, and I see that make and model come up the street. And I'm like, I can't shake this. Or like the other day, my mom doesn't really watch Netflix. Right?
Yeah.
All she watches is Hallmark.
Yeah.
Right? And I come home one day, and she's in the living room, and she's never in the living room.
Okay.
Right? And I'm in the kitchen, and she's scrolling through Netflix, which is pretty odd. Like, and on top of that, you're in the living room. Like, it's just not something that's common in my house. I don't see my mom come out of her room, and if she's not in her room, she's not home.
I love your mom though. I love her so much. I miss her.
And I was like, out of all the TV shows on Netflix, right? She picked, I think it was Night Agent or something like that. And that was the and I don't even watch Netflix. I think I'm never home, but that was the last TV show that I had watched with her. And I'm like, out of all these TV shows, you want to watch that one that you probably not. She's into she's into things like Hallmark murder mysteries, you know, stuff like that. So I'm like, well,
switched it up. Yeah,
switched it up. And I'm like,
I see.
And she asked me, she's like, hey, have you ever seen this? I look at the TV and I was like, no, I never seen it. Never seen it. You know, and I just, so I'm just consistently reminded of her every day, you know, so I guess it's just my sign to try again, before I just, you know, wash my hands of it and move on. And at the same time, in my last video, you know, they talked about having an abundance mindset, and I want to see where you are with this.
Okay.
If I was to have an abundant mindset, right, and every person that it didn't work out with, we got into an argument and didn't really care to work out, would you say that it's just, I should just wash my hands with that too and just find new friends or find new, like, say for instance, like I get into it with my brother. I get to my brother quite often, right? And that's normal.
Absolutely.
Right? So should I just, you know, cut ties with him and just find somebody else to talk to? I don't know why when it comes to people that you let into your life, like they have that expectation on. Yeah. You know, like, what is that to go back to? Or, you know, like stuff like that. Because, you know, people make mistakes. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So if you had an abundance mindset and you knew you was dealing with a man with an abundant mindset, would it be easy for you to fall in love with him, or would you even want to?
An abundance mindset, like he felt like there's abundance of women everywhere, and like, is that what you mean? Yeah, like you're disposable. Like if you get into, like say for instance, you get into X amount of arguments, right? You at one point, because you know he has an abundance mindset, one of these arguments gonna be my last. Would you even want to commit to a man like that who had no? Or you would want a man who was gonna fight for you? I would want a man that's gonna fight for me. You better fight for this. But because I would fight for this, right? But what I will say is, I do think that you should have but I think that there should be I don't think you should go over. I think with everything, excess of anything, any type of mindset, like you don't want to be too far off the deep end. Like, I do think that you should believe, like, hey, I don't have to put up with this. I can go find someone. Like, if you getting beat and abused and whatnot, like, that's different. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say, but what I will say is it's good to look at the quality of that person. Right. So, and I'll use like a relationship as an example, since we're on a deep dive of relationship topics. Right. If I'm in a relationship with somebody and they are willing to fight for this, I'm going to be willing to fight for this. But I think both people, like I said, both people have to be putting in work, you know, like, and it comes down every time to, are both people putting in work? Like, I can't be the person that's like, I'm going to fight for this. I'm going to fight for this. And you talking about, you know, well, you know, diamond a dozen, you know, I can find y'all anywhere. Right. Like, if you have that mindset, then you need to go be with somebody with that type of mindset then. You know what I'm saying? But I do think that, especially women, men too, I don't want to leave y'all out of it, but like, especially with women, because women are just so willing to, women are so willing to put up with something for so long, whereas I think for a majority of part, a lot of times men can have that mentality of like thinking of women like you can kind of just sleep around and not really care and whatever. Whereas women, I think they get attached from this kind of stuff, no matter how much they want to say that they don't. So I think that if you're with, for a woman especially, I don't think that they should walk around with the mindset of like, I'm gonna fight for, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think they should have a mindset of abundance, of like, you know what, if this isn't serving me, then I can go be with somebody that does want to take the time to communicate and does want to take the time to care and things like that. So I think you need to have a little bit of both. You need to have, at the end of the day, value yourself.
Okay.
When you value yourself, you're going to have a mentality of that abundance, but you're also gonna have a both. Like, you're not gonna just be like, I'm gonna just toss this person and, oh, you didn't, do that one thing I said, I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because like I think that if I had that mindset, right, and I used to have that mindset.
Yes, you did.
I used to have that mindset like, you are replaceable.
Yes.
And it made me not even want to, like, it made me not really care to get to know you. Like,
and I think that's so bad.
Yeah, it's bad because
that's bad.
Because like I don't even, if I feel like you're disposable, then like I'm not gonna be putting up with anything. And I don't think that's,
and everybody's different. Like, we are all experiencing this life journey. We're all individual human beings. Like, you're not replaceable. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let's say me and you get into it and I go talk to someone else, you're not replaceable. I'm gonna miss my twin. I'm gonna miss Daidrien. I'm gonna miss, the qualities that you had. You're not replaceable. You're not disposable. But now, on the other spectrum of that, let's say that you just are just treating me like absolute garbage, then absolutely, of course you're replaceable, because I can go meet a stranger off the street that's going to be nicer to me than you're being nicer to me.
Right.
But I think walking around, like, it just kind of depends on like where you are in life too, what you're willing to put up with, what you're not willing to put up with. But if someone is there and they're putting in that effort and they want to work it out and they want to, like how you're putting in all this research and all this time and all this effort, then no, I don't think anyone should walk around treating anyone, because if you're going to walk around with that mindset of, well, all y'all are replaceable, so are you then. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you kind of have to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, I'm disposing all these people, but what makes me so great? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless you're like Jeff Bezos, like, fine, whatever, don't listen.
So, yeah, so like, I think it was mostly, I actually, and I didn't even want to admit that. I did not want to admit that, like, maybe she's right.
Oh,
because like I couldn't, like you said, communication is a big one. I'm sure vulnerability with you is a big one. You want to go, who would be vulnerable with you? Does that matter?
I like the vulnerable. Yeah, me. I work so much though.
Yeah.
Like, my situation is just so different.
But I understand that. Like, before I used to get mad, like, bro, why should take so long to text me back?
I'm so sorry.
But that's okay though, because I didn't understand until I got just as busy.
Yeah.
And I think that I talked about this in my first podcast of unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
And I think that people are it's so normalized now. Everybody has a phone, so everybody has this expectation that was never placed before we got smartphones, which is everybody got their phone on them all the time. That's not true. That is not true. Everybody does not have their phone on them 24/7, especially somebody who's trying to build a foundation for themselves. You have way too much going on. I can't tell you how many advisors I've been speaking to, Zoom calls I've been in, banks that I've been to talking to them. It's just, and on top of your daily priorities anyway, cleaning the house, going to the gym, finding food, cooking, driving.
Yeah.
Just to go to the gym and back, that's an hour, right? And if you don't text and drive, that's an hour that you're not going to hear from me.
Yeah. And I do have my phone on me I do have my phone on me. I have to, because, I have investors, I have clients, I have, I might have, 5 closings in a day. Like, I have to get stuff done. But however, it's just that, like, sometimes someone will be calling me and I'm on the other line. Like, I can't, stop that call. Like, if someone has to close, they need to close. Like, they need something, done. So I have to make sure that I'm available and I'm ready to, you know, I can't like, it's hard a little bit for me to like give that time.
Right.
But with being vulnerable, whenever we're with each other, yes. But nothing too demanding. Like, I don't think that she wanted you to just 100% of the time be available, but definitely probably more than what you were.
Absolutely.
And I think when y'all were together,
Yep.
I think you know that you were not at
Yep.
your 100%. That
Yep.
you were stressed. Okay, you had those meetings and stuff. That testosterone was going,
Yep.
and she was stressed too, and that estrogen was going.
You know something?
Two different.
I never communicated how busy I was with her. I never told her. I always told her. I only told her three things. And I was like, hey, look, like I go to the gym, I go to castings, and I told her it was the gym, castings, and I think auditions, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, I was a lot more busy than that, and I lied because I wanted her to know, like, don't be afraid to reach out or call. Many people other than her, you know, know that I'm extreme. They kind of know what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and when they call me with a purpose. They call me to have a question, and it's quick.
But you can't be like that in the relationships.
Yep.
You can't. It's a lesson that I'm learning too. Because sometimes I'm like, okay, like what's going on? I'm really busy. So I think like you have to, and like I said, I'm probably the last person to ask with the type of availability that I have right now. But having those, I was reading a book the other day and it was really, really good. And it talked about how this person, they're very busy, they're in real estate like I am, and they were talking about the beauty of just enjoying the moments and really absorbing those moments and really living in those moments. And when I was reading it at first, I like was not really valuing that information. I was like, how, like what? Stop and smell the roses later. Let's make this shmoney right now. Okay. We're going to stop and smell the roses later, you know? And then I thought about it, and I had my baby brother. He was like next to me when I was reading it, and I was like disagreeing with it. And he was like, I really want to hang out. I really want to go to the pool. Take me to the pool, whatever. Hang out with me. You never make time for me. So I took him to the pool, and at first I was there and I'm like, I'm working. Like I had my laptop, I had my iPad, I'm on the phone. And then I started to think about the book, and I was like, I'm gonna do something different. Something that I've never done before. I'm gonna take out my journal and I'm gonna start kind of writing my thoughts as I'm here. Right. And I was writing on the journal, and I was like really talking about how I'm sitting outside, I'm enjoying the air, I'm out there with my brother. Mm-hmm. And then I started to actually like really be with him and really like remember the moment. Like I was like hanging out with him at the pool, and I was like, this is like his childhood development. Like, you know, like this is something that he's going to probably remember forever. It's a part of his childhood. So I want to really be like in it, invested in it. And to this day, I really remember like, cause this happened, you know, maybe like a month ago, but this is like something that I really, I remember like every detail of that moment that we spent together at the pool. Right. So I think that making time for other people, the person that you're with, is so important, and really absorbing that time and remembering that time and really valuing that time is like so important. And I think like just in the future, whenever you're doing that, and you know, y'all will talk again, you know, it's not like this is
end all be all.
Y'all will talk again. And when y'all do, and y'all are around each other, really even show it. Like show that you're really in that moment, that you're there with her, because it'll really make up for all the other times that you're so busy. Like my brother hasn't really like been super annoyed with me since then, because when I was giving him my time, I was giving him my time, my heart, my soul. I was in it. And granted, I had like 100 missed calls, but I was in it, and I feel like he really appreciated that. And I think if you're with someone that appreciates the time that you're putting in, I'm not saying like it, now if you do all that and then she'd be like, but it's just not good enough for me, then okay, fine. Okay, yeah. You know, but if she sits and she's like, hey, I really appreciate that you took the time to do this, it's going to make all of it worth it, you know? Just in that moment, really absorbing it and being in it and living in it.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
That was a long...
Yeah, it was
very long.
No, it was good. It was great information, though. How do you feel about commitment, as in like marriage at an early age? Do you think it's important for a woman to try to invest into something like that, or as far as a man? Because like we have a society now where like nobody wants to get married. Like well, I guess it's just like a lot of the men, right? Because like they say that it's more to lose than it is to gain, right? So do you think that if you was to get married, what age? Like what age would you want to be at? Would you want to be in your 20s still, 30s, still trying to figure your life out and figure it out together? Like what would you want to be with that?
You know, I'm gonna sound crazy. I'm down. I'm a very like let's do it. Why not? You know, but I do think that with women being more like realistic, it's a very damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
You know, I think that there's so many women out there that they are just so confused with which direction to go, because if you marry too young, there's problems with that. If you wait till you're older, there's problems with that, you know, because you hear so many different voices, men saying, oh, you know, now she's too old, you know, like it's kind of finding that perfect age of that makes sense for you, where you're at in life. Right. I personally would get married. I feel like I have my life where I want it to be, to where I feel like I'm where I need to be. Like I can settle down. I can have kids right now. I can have three of them little things running around, you know?
Right. Cause I think it's dating. I think dating is pointless if that's not your intention.
I agree.
Like if you're dating in your 20s and you're not trying to get married, what are you doing?
I agree.
What are you doing? You know, because like you're gonna have all this time that passes you up. And I don't know. I guess I'm different. Like I date with the intent to marry. Like I'm not trying to date you and then date somebody else and then date somebody else. Like I want to work through my problems with that person.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to, are you at where you need to be in life? Do you have the qualities? It comes down to the qualities and people putting in effort. It's going to always come down to that. Yeah. Do you have the qualities and what it takes to make a marriage work and last? If you don't, then I think you should wait. You know, being in a relationship takes work. No one wants to be alone. So if you're able to be in a relationship and both parties they have what it takes, you know, it's a very gray area to me, right? Because I feel like I'm ready, but I think that is that other person, it just comes down to qualities. Are we going to put in the work to make this last? Because yeah, you can marry young, but you don't want to be going through a divorce isn't easy either. You know what I'm saying?
It's expensive to get
right. Yeah. Like, and me, you gonna have to sign a prenup or something. Like, I just feel like I don't know. Like, it's a gray area for me because, like, I want to do it. I really, really want to do it. Right. But I want to do something that's gonna be lasting. So I think that for me, it's like a fear maybe with it a little bit. But I'm all for committing. I do think that there is a such thing as too young. Like, I'm glad that I didn't get married at 18 when I wanted to get married. I'm glad that I didn't get married at 20 when I was begging and forcing and pleading. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad that I didn't take that step right then and there because I would be going through a divorce right now. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I think I don't think the age so much. I think that there is a such thing as too young. But I also think it just comes down to qualities and mindset. Like, do you have what it takes, you know, to be a wife? Do you have what it takes and the qualities to be a husband? Are you husband material? You know what I'm saying? It comes down to the qualities.
Yeah, because me personally, like, I would like to find my person, right? And then, like, because, like, I guess I'm thinking about this way too logical. Let's say I got to 45, 35, I got way more for myself, right? And then I meet another woman around that age. Like, she's been through a lot more experiences than a person who is, and these could be good or bad experiences, but this is a lot more experiences, a lot more skeletons in the closet, right? That you will find out about, versus I think you kind of eliminate that when you go into it young, and y'all experience life with, I want to say, new minds.
I do want to say though, there is a value in being with an older woman. I'm around a lot of older people. Right. You know, in my industry, there's not a lot of people. Well, actually now it's actually starting to get all ages, which is really awesome. But I think that, like, there's values that the older woman has, though. Like, I don't think that there's too late, because you know what? She has answers and she has wisdom that could be very beneficial, because she didn't already been there, done that. Like, I always, when I ask advice about life and experiences and finances and things like that, I don't go to someone that's 20. Right. You know, I go to the person that's 40, 45, 50. And there's a value to that. Like, there's to me, a huge value in having someone in your life that's older and wiser. I think that it would be totally okay to date someone that's older. She may have some skeletons in her closet. We all do. You know what I'm saying? But it may be more, but at least you know that you'll have someone on your team that, for the majority of the part, has been there, done that, and can give you valuable advice and bring, you know, something like that, you know. But you're young. So also, I'm not telling you, hey, Daidrien, like, go to Target and go find you, you know, I'm not saying that. But when you get older and you're 30, 40, I think that that's perfectly fine to, you know, if you go find another person that's 30, 40 and they, you know, because you know what, women are very underrated with how educated and smart a lot of them are. I think statistics have shown that there's a lot of women that now are, they are further in life than the males at their age, you know. Right. And I think that just comes from the fact that they get so underestimated. They're so smart and educated, and they bring, them older women, I'm telling you right now, they be bringing some value to the table for real.
Absolutely. Okay, and that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. But here's the thing: when it comes to that age, 30, what if we get to 30 or 31, 32, 33, and I still haven't asked you that question? Now it's
which question?
The, you know, like the marriage question.
Okay.
Like, will you marry me? Because at that time, at that time though, if I don't hit that question, I'm sure that woman's gonna be under a lot of stress. Cause
do you mean if you start dating them now, but you don't marry them, y'all 30 has been 10 years? Is that what?
Like, I mean, like, yeah, like, or like, like, I'm dating you now.
So you're placeholding her, placeholder.
So that's what I'm trying to get to. That's why, like if you make that question, if you make it happen in their 20s, it eliminates. Because what if we get to 30 and I decide, you know, this isn't working for me, and you've already gave me 4 or 5 years. You see what I'm saying? In your 20s and you hit 30 and you're, so we're hitting time frames.
What's the time?
Yeah. So like, because like after 30, you know, statistically, you know, she may start to lose options when she gave you her prime years, which is why I would make that question happen in her prime years, because you don't have to worry about that. I'm not gonna have you under that kind of stress if that question is gonna be. You're
a good man. If you start dating someone now, absolutely do not wait. Do not wait 10 years. But I mean, is a woman gonna let you? You know what I'm saying? I think that's why people get away with that so much. Like, I think that's way too long. And I
mean, I see it. I see it now.
We do.
I see it now, and I think that I would just want to eliminate that insecurity with that woman or my woman.
That's sweet.
You know,
that's that Pisces moon coming out right there.
I would want to eliminate that insecurity because, you know, I feel like women have a biological clock and they want things done at a certain time. You know, they want a home, they want families, they have all this stuff planned out. And a man has a financial clock. I'm trying to figure out how to take care of you. I'm trying to figure out how to make sure we survive the rest of our lives. Yeah. That's how I'm thinking. That's why I'm popping that question early. I'm trying to figure out from the rest of our lives from this point. So if I'm already thinking like that, me personally, why not?
That's the mindset you should have.
You see what I'm saying? Because like, I'm not trying to, like, because if I pick my person, like, then you motivate me to conquer the world. And I've said that before in my early podcast. I'm like, you know, I feel like I got the right one because my process is so long. It's long.
You do wait a long time though. Like, even a pop questions, like, you do wait a little bit too long.
So it's too long.
It's too long. I think it's too Wait, you be cracking me up. I'm like, what, you know.
Okay, so how okay, so
we hit a lot of different topics, biological clocks, and I'm like wrapping my head around everything. Time frame though, to start there. Yeah. I think that when you meet someone, you know. Like, a man knows, you know, you can't tell me, especially with people that are in those relationships for 10 years, because we have a situation very close to us that we see right now happening with that, where they've been together 25 years. And he talking about, you know, not doing it.
Yeah.
So I think that's very placeholder energy, and it's really easy for a woman to feel like, okay, especially in your situation, you're so young, so you don't have to invest much. Right. But for a woman, you know, especially, which is why I don't think you should be, you know, it's up to a woman how she wants to carry herself, that particular woman. But if, you know, let's say y'all intimate, were y'all intimate before you popped the question?
No.
Okay. Oh, well, then that leaves things a little bit differently, gray. The reason why I was going to say is because if you are, and then you're taking a really long time to ask, it's really easy for her to have felt like, okay, he's placeholdering me. Like, I'm giving him my body. I'm giving him my emotions, my heart, and he not asking me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I wouldn't want to do it like that. But in your situation.
So you're saying, that's a good point. That's actually a really deep point.
Yeah, you know.
Now that I'm thinking about it, my answer just changed.
You know, because at that point, then no, like, that's too long.
See, I didn't understand that. I did not understand that. And I'm like, because it was my first time ever asking that question.
I know. Oh my gosh, that is so crazy, girl. You don't realize. If you're watching this, you don't realize. Like, that is not how he moves. I know my brother.
So I was like, it was. I don't know. I ain't never asked that question before, so it took a while. So in my experience, it's a little bit different.
It is.
It's a little bit
different scenario.
And I wanted to pop the question a lot earlier. But I was waiting to get my ROI back.
Yeah.
And he was taking forever. And I had to make something happen. But I can see what you're saying. I can honestly see that. And that's kind of the same. That's hurtful. Yeah,
You shouldn't want to play with anybody like that.
Exactly. So
and then they get mad, you know, if the girl crazy and start, you know, keying cars and which don't do that, women. Like, that's crazy.
So to go back on what you said about being intimate, I waited a while. I think it was a month and a half. It was a while. It was a while. And no,
I thought you meant like 7 months. I waited a while.
Nah, it makes sense though, because I can see why she's putting that pressure, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Because it's like, hey, like I'm giving you everything that I possibly could. I'm letting you into my body. We're having a soul tie. You want to talk about karmic cycles? You know what I'm saying? That all that ties in together. Right. So, you know, you're creating this soul tie, this really intimate. That's just as intimate as you could possibly be with somebody. Right. Is letting them into your body, your flesh. So, if you're gonna do something like that, you can't get mad if she's like, hey, like, what are we doing? What is this? What is that? Because, like, you know, she gave you everything that she possibly could, including her heart, her emotions, you know, those deeper aspects of herself that nobody else gets to see except for you, because you're the only person that, you know, she's really rocking with it at that time.
Yeah, that's
so at that point, like, you should know right then and there. So you'll sleep with me, but you don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's probably where her mindset was at a little bit. Like, you have to, I think in your situation, which you've learned so much, like, I don't even think you realize just how much you have really learned from this situation. Like, I think just moving forward, it's going to be such a beautiful thing. Like, and I can't wait, like, because I want to be at the wedding. I'm going to sponsor that. We going to have the craziest, I'm not a boy, but I'm going to that bachelor party. And it's going to be crazy. I'm taking us. We all go. We getting flew out to Vegas, baby.
We're going out.
It's going to be lit.
I think, that's you know, when you put it like that, though, when you really put it like
I'm surprised that y'all not think about this.
That's crazy, though. I wouldn't have.
Because think about your daughter. Like, if you have kids and you end up having a daughter, are you going to want your daughter to be, you know,
nope.
In that, it's
nope.
Okay.
Nope.
That's all I'm saying. We have to, as human beings, we have to really be sympathetic with one another, you know, really think about how you're moving, how you're doing things. That comes with time, that comes with growth, but it's kind of a cruel thing to do. Like, I don't want to, you know me, you know how it is. I have so many people that are constantly trying to be with me, and then they get offended if I shoot them down, or I'm like, hey, I don't want to go with you. But that's because I don't want to play with anyone's emotions. You know, I don't want to do that, because I just think that that's so wrong. Like, you know, especially, I know I don't have the time. I know that this, you know, for whatever reason it may be, I don't want to, because I have a little brother. I have you. I have the other little one who's only 8. I have Xavier. You know, I don't I wouldn't want no female to do y'all like that. I wouldn't
Right.
want nobody to use y'all, play with y'all.
That's
you
how
know, I
I be
wouldn't want to
thinking.
do
That's how I
that.
be thinking. I'm like, I can't.
So I'm not gonna move like that.
I can't disrespect this girl because I got a sister. And
You
I don't want
know?
nobody talking to her like this. So
You
let
know?
me let me calm myself.
You gotta
down.
move with compassion, and people, you know, at least I won't ever have somebody be like, you played with my, you know what I'm saying? I won't have that reaction because I'm very honest, and I don't want to do that. And that's something that we have to work on. And what you do to someone, it does come back. You know, that is life is karmic cycles, and I think that people don't realize, like, we are all one. You know, we're all experiencing this human experience. We're all connected as one. So that's why sometimes if you do someone dirty, you realize it comes back to you because I don't want to say it's like you're doing it to yourself,
Right.
but we are all connected, you know, as human beings. We're all living in this experience all together. So we all need to be sympathetic with each other because we all have that beating heart and those emotions, and it's just wrong. I wouldn't want anyone to do, but you know, y'all like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that makes sense though. You know, when you look at it from a woman's standpoint, like I'm looking at it as a man's standpoint, you know, and I in order, I guess, to have a successful relationship, you have to put yourself in her shoes.
You
and
have
she has to be willing to put herself in your shoes.
Absolutely. It has to be both ways.
Has to be both ways.
And that was something that I learned after being in my 8-10 year relationship, that I didn't even have that quality until I walked away. And then I did kind of how you did, and I was like, well, you know, what could I learn from this? Because I'm really hurt about this. Okay. And I thought, and he even communicated with me on his perspective, which you've seen so many times. Right. So I think that I was like, oh, why did we never have this conversation for 8 years? You know what I'm saying? Like, why did we never realize that we both had the same goal? We just were thinking about it differently. Like, we both wanted to do these things together, but you're moving at this testosterone rate, and I just can't, I don't know how to handle that. You know, I don't produce all this testosterone the way that you're producing it. When you deal with stuff, I'm producing estrogen. So we had the same goal, but we were moving about it differently. So we were miscommunicating 100% because he wasn't wanting to handle it the way that I was wanting to handle it. And I wasn't willing. It has to be a give and take. Like, we both got to be willing to.
Okay. I got a question for you. You know, in your 8-year relationship, you said?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that it was some things that you seen as neglectful, but to him, he probably was oblivious to it, right? So what are some things that you may find that you felt neglected, but to him, he's just like, what are you talking about?
I mean, I was so young at the time, so now our relationship probably would have. We actually had the conversation not that long ago about how it would have thrived if this would have been a little bit later, because at the time I was like 15, so. Anything, I was always feeling neglected because I didn't have really nothing going on, you know? Right. So, but as I got older now, I mean, at the time, he was very well put together. He was very busy with work. Mm-hmm. And because I wasn't there yet, I was not really understanding that. I was just more so like, I just want time and I want time. And he actually did try to, like, he'd be like, okay, well, you know, I'm working remote, you know, just stay here while I work and I would go over there and I would stay with him while he worked, and I wouldn't really bother him. I would watch like TV or something. Mm-hmm. And he did try and give me that time, but I think I just was like, man, I was so young and needy. But there was other aspects of things that he was very neglectful with, even as we got older. Cause I mean, when things ended, I was like 22, 22, 23, something like that. 25 now. So halfway to 30, but, in 5 years, actually, our dad called me at some point and was like, hey, I'm calling you to let you know that in 5 years you'll be 30.
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
and that's how you start the conversation?
That's actually as soon as I answered, that's what he said. But what I was saying was, I would say, okay, to answer your question, because you know me, it's so easy for me to go on tangents and things like that, and I'd be forgetting we're on a schedule. Yeah. I think things that
I was going to ask you, like, what are ways that you felt neglected?
I felt neglected intimately. I felt like he wasn't affectionate enough. He wasn't, I felt like, okay, you know, you're not this, and he would, even his mom was like, I just didn't really hug him when he was younger. Like, I'm sorry. So he didn't really grow up in that lifestyle, and he has a great mom that loves him and everything like that. It's not like she was like, oh, deadbeat or anything like that. But because she's very well put together woman. But he didn't grow up with that. Whereas I did, because I'm a girl and my mom had a girl. So I grew up my mom was very huggy. My mom hugged me this morning, you know what I'm saying? When I saw her, I was out the door and she was like, ah. So I think that I just didn't feel like he was affectionate enough. And I think also it comes down to learning each other's love languages, because you know what, I don't think that I was touching his love languages either, but I was expecting him to hit all of mine, so I actually bought a book about all of the different love languages, and it's called like the 5 love languages or something like that. It's a great book. I recommend reading it, because I think, like I said, my love language at that time, which is not anymore, well, I'm still an affectionate person, but at the time my love language was like straight up like, I need affection, I need touch. And his love language was a completely different one. And I wasn't hitting it. Or I tried. I think I did try. Like, I was like, how could I, I was very much willing to please and be there. But I don't think that he was very in his ways. He was very like, that's just not who I am. Right. So, and I'm sure that he's a different person now. Like, I would never, ever bash him. I would never talk bad about him, because he has helped me so much. Okay. And you know that, like, I mean, he was so young, like getting me my car, for example, like, I mean, he was just so good to me that I'm so grateful to him. I still have that car. I would never talk bad about him. I think that we just, we had different languages, but I think if we, I would never talk bad about him or anything like that. So it's not any hate to him, because he was so young. I mean, we're like 18 trying to figure out sitting down on the couch trying to figure out how we can make the relationship work. And we were so much happening at such a young age.
Do you think the way that he showed his love, other than emotional, was ensuring y'all's survival?
That was exactly his love language, was the financial aspects of things. Like, it was very much like, hey, I'm not affectionate, but you have a car here. And to me, I was like, but I want you in the car with me, and let's drive to the beach and lay in the backseat and cuddle. So, and he was like, so
I gotta figure out a way to keep us afloat. And that's kind of the same.
Yeah.
And I see.
I was so young though.
And that's okay.
That's why I say no hate to him, because like that was 100%.
He was he was ahead of his age.
He was so. I mean, we were 18, and he was like, the credit was 800, and I'm getting into this IT, and like he was really there, And
that's one thing. Yeah. No, that's one thing that was like, that's what I thought of. Like,
yeah.
How, like, your survival. Because like, while you want these things emotionally, and you have these realities or fantasies in your head that you want to become a reality, like I think as far as a man, like, I want to ensure your survival. One, I want to make sure you get it, and two, I want to make sure like I can give you everything under the sun, right? Yeah. So like that was my mindset. It wasn't really like to be affectionate, because I wasn't raised that way either.
That's why I said it comes to women and men both putting in that effort to understand each other, and you trying to be more affectionate for her, and her trying to be more understanding to your situation. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, but there was a lot of other things wrong with the relationship. It's different religious views and things like that. Like, when it came down to raising kids, it was just kind of like, like, what are we going to do? Like, so it was more bigger things than that. Once again, no hate to him, because everyone, it's just no hate to that situation. There's nothing but love there. But I think that it was just a lot of things accumulated as well. But if you're in a situation where, because y'all situation, and y'all had the same views on life and things like that. Me and him,
everything. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And it was really just those little ticket items.
Yep.
So with stuff like that, like, you can get but is she gonna be willing to sit down and be like, you know what? Other than this, and this, we were great. We can fight for this. We could work for this. We could work on this. And are you? Because you're willing. You're like, look, I did the You gonna talk to her? And be like, listen, let me tell you about karmic cycles, okay? I'm not trying to put you through a karmic cycle, okay? Like, you're going to come to her and have this great, like, so proud of you. I'm hoping that when she comes back to you, she's willing to see that and put in that work too, because both people, like I said at the very beginning of this, I have that friend who's like, well, he needs to do this. And I was like, but remember when he was getting mad because you wanted to go out every night at 2 a.m.? Like, are you willing to stay home? And, like, both people have to change. You can't come in and you have completely changed the person, and then she's not willing to do those necessary steps, because then it's not going to be an equal give and take, and it's going to be hurtful for you.
You know what? I'm a I'm gonna say that I think she was, when it comes to her emotions and what she want, I think when it comes to stuff like that, she was way better than I was. Yeah. And as a man, I'm like, we can figure this out today. And she's like, nah, you need time, you know? Yeah. And I think that's a very mature thing to do. And that's honorable. That is. Because if you can tell somebody like, hey, like sit there and take the time. Yeah. And stuff like that. If I don't take her as a person that'll tell me that and not do it herself.
No, yeah, that's very mature of her to be like, you know what,
so
we both need time.
Yeah. So, you know, and I think that's important
because no one's perfect.
Nobody's perfect. You're right. You know, and it's one thing that's honorable about that as well is she didn't try to force it. Mm-hmm. So even though it was like going the path that it was, she's like, you know what, we're not gonna force this. You know, we're gonna take. But I do think that she definitely could have,
take the time. But imagine if y'all would have been married. You're gonna be like, we gonna be separated. Okay, we're gonna be separated until, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta be willing, though. I think it is good that you guys are taking that time, but you know, you're talking about commitment and things like that. You have to also question, is she at that point? Because how long has it been since communication? It's been a couple of months. So if you would have been married to this person, so are you showing me that this is, because when I talk to a man, that's the first thing I think about is does this person have quality fatherly qualities? So that tells me how the marriage is going to go. So if I do something you don't like, because we had these they're little ticket items that y'all had issues with, these little ticket items, you're not going to talk to me for months, and we're married and we got kids in the house, and the kids seeing that, when mommy and daddy argue, they're not going to talk to each other. So that's the type of love that we're teaching them. That's the type of things that we're teaching them. So I think that it's fine to take the time. But if you want something, work on it, fight for it, and don't try and force anything that doesn't serve you. But if it's serving you and both parties are so in love, and the only issue was one person was affectionate and the other person, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that we can work on through marriage and relationships. Even just relationships, that type of stuff takes work. Right. Okay, you got to put some work.
You know, one thing about that is, I ain't gonna lie to you, realizing it, like, it probably took so long because I'm so stubborn. I am a stubborn person.
You're taking a lot. I'll tell you this.
I'm pretty stubborn with this one. I'm like, I don't know why though. Maybe I need to get over that.
I'll tell you this. You're taking a lot of accountability. Like, anything that I say, you're like, well, I did do this. Like, okay, well, is she? Well, you know, I was being really stubborn. You're taking a lot of accountability. So what I will say is, you're 23. Yeah. Like, whenever you hit 30, like, I mean, you are just going to make such a great husband someday. Like, that girl is going to be lucky, because let me tell you something. You talking about well, you know what, Daidrien? I guess I was wrong. Nah, baby. It was me. I was being stubborn. Like, you just really taking accountability. Like, you're really taking those steps. And I'm really starting to believe in this zodiac thing, because I'm convinced that it's that Pisces moon that you got going on, because you know, your Sagittarius sun is a little scary, but that Pisces moon right there and that Scorpio Venus is hitting right now.
You know what? I got to take a look at that, because
you got to look at it.
For some reason, I've been seeing a lot more of that, and people talk about that. So I want to look at mine. It's like, you know,
and I really love that about you, because with me it was so much harder. I'm a Capricorn, sun and moon, for anyone that cares to know that. So I didn't always have this very mindset of like, well, we're all human beings and we all got to love one another. Because the Capricorn in me be like, I'm trying to make some money. I got to go to work. You know, we got 5 minutes left on this podcast, and then I got to go answer some calls. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think it's really nice that at your age, because when I was 23, I didn't have that mindset of I wasn't having this mindset of like, I have to put in these steps. Right. And as do you. I learned that maybe like a year, like maybe... You know what? I feel like probably around your age, but it wasn't I wasn't taking as much accountability as you are. That was the thing. Because I was like, well, yeah, he did this, and we both have to put in work, but I was putting in all, like, you're very like willing to be like defensive over the fact that not defensive. You're very much willing to admit, yeah. Yeah. And that's very admirable. As a man, that's going to make a great husband someday.
Trying to grow.
And father, you know. Do you want kids with her specifically? I went there.
Do I want kids? I'm going to be honest
with
you.
With her specifically?
I'm going to be honest with you. And before I met her, nope. Like, I was like, I don't even want to. I don't want to deal with anybody. I don't want to get y'all my time. I don't want to talk to y'all. I want to take y'all out. It's kind of how it was, and I've not given a lot of women chances, and there have been times where hey, you should talk to her. I'm like, I'm good, right? And I was a person that like I didn't want a family because I was so closed off, and I was like, I don't trust women, right? And I was like that. But if I thinking about it now, I probably would.
That is so, you are just growing so much. What is going on? I could totally see you as a father, though. Like, I do want to say that I could definitely see you as a father with some kids. Them kids gonna be tall and handsome. You want boys, girls?
I think I would want a for sure brother and a sister, or if I had 2 boys, I'd keep trying until I get a girl because it's important.
Yeah, that's
important. You know, they're gonna need that. You know,
balance.
They're gonna need that balance. So if I had 2 girls or a girl, I wouldn't stop till I got a boy.
Yeah, and that's why I really like. That's why I keep talking about, hey, putting in the work, putting in the effort, because when you do get married and you do have kids, you want something that's gonna be lasting. Because kids need to know that balance and what it takes to make things work. They need to be around women just as much as they need to be around the men. Yeah. You know, a daughter. Just like she needs her mother, she definitely needs a father in her life. And same vice versa, because how would you have known these qualities? Of course you don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, you're not around it. You didn't grow up in it. You didn't grow up in a household with both parties where they had to tap into each other and put in that work with each other where, okay, clearly, okay, mom is trying to do this, but they're still trying to work it out. Okay, like of course you're not going to have these qualities, and it's a little unfair for anyone to demand them if you haven't been around it. And plus you're willing to put in the work. Right. So that is just, like I said, like you just have grown so much. Like I don't even know what to do with you right now.
I'm just thinking very long term. And I feel like if I was to raise kids, and I want my daughters to know they have men in their life, it's very important. Because as a man, being around other men, if men know that you don't have men in your life, they will pretty much do whatever they can.
Capitalize on that.
They would capitalize.
Like a shark.
Like, nah, like, yeah, you got men in your life. You know what I'm
saying?
Period. You call me with something like that, I'm on the way. I'm on the way. I got your location too.
Same
I'll be there in 45 minutes. I'm going to make 2 phone calls.
I'm so grateful.
We're going to pull up 10 deep.
We
going to handle that.
I'm beyond grateful to have brothers. Beyond, especially you, because we have really grown together so much. And like, I don't think that there's so many, well, it's great to have someone that's a best friend, and it's like we can talk about anything and we're willing to grow. That's another thing. Like, you know, you're not someone that I tell you something and then you're like, nah, shut it down. Like, you're very willing to, like, you're like, okay, well, I could see how this, and I'm the same way with you. Like, I'll tell you something and I'll be like, oh, what about this? And you'll be like, well, yeah, it's like, you know, whatever it is that you're telling me.
Right.
And I really appreciate that, because you're just going to do really big things. Like, you really are. And I really hope that, you know, because she going to miss out. Okay. Okay.
Well, you're not going to gross $8 million in real estate if you don't learn how to grow.
Oh, here you go.
Grow and evolve.
That I'm trying to be.
I'm proud of you though.
Thank you.
I seen that and I was like, how many commas is that? Like 8 million.
I have much more bigger but that's speaking of abundance mindsets, that's something you should have an abundance mindset is your finances, your career, your goals. I am a very firm believer in not being realistic with your goals at all, but just being very realistic on how you're going to get there. That is where you need to have an abundance mindset. But too much of any, like I said, a lot of people that have their finances together because they got to where they are with having that mindset of abundance, it trickles over to the rest of their life with people, and that's where it becomes unhealthy. Like, I think you need to have for me, I have an abundance mindset with my finances and my career, but when it comes to people, I don't let it trickle over. Like, well, I can have 5.
So okay, that's a good point, and I'm the same way.
You have to be.
I'm the same way, but you know, I think
grounded.
I think she's worth it. I think. And above all, you know, she was my first choice, and she's my only choice.
Yeah. Aww.
So I'm
shut up. I'm gonna go jump out this window right here.
And honestly, I don't even feel like she knew that.
She probably didn't,
she
because
probably felt like she was first choice, and she was.
I know she didn't. You know, because us women, unless you are really telling us.
Yeah.
And that's the dangers of it, because some men know that, and then they come in, they start love bombing you. They tell you everything they want to hear, you want to hear, and the women, they fall right into that trap. But I think that in your situation, when you're in a relationship with somebody, because that's kind of where my relationship went off too, because I wasn't being told. And then whenever he was like, okay, well, we could get married, I was like, really? Like, so I think, you know, communicating that too, like, hey, I'm busy, but you are my first choice. You're my only choice. Hitting those words of affirmation. A lot of times women's love languages are going to be affirmations, quality time, touch. That's like the basics, you know, like things that, because it's that estrogen, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's going to be it for the, you know, for the majority of the part. That's going to be something that you're going to have to be willing to tap into. And you know what? You have a sister, like, you know, and I think that that's why you didn't know, because, you know, although you're around me, I'm not really like I'm so busy. Like you said, like I'm so busy. So it's not like I'm really like coming to you like, Daidrien, I'm just needy. I need time. So I wish that you would have been able to learn that from me. But because I just wasn't like that until I really got into a relationship. And even then, I wouldn't even say that I was just like, I mean, kind of, but you didn't really get to learn that from me, because like I've been so busy and just a completely different, you know,
100 missed calls. It's crazy. 100 missed calls. I remember one time I looked at my phone and I had 13 missed calls. But yeah, we can go ahead and close out with that.
Yeah, this was so.
It was great. I was a pleasure having you on here.
I'm really so glad I got to be on here. This was the coolest thing ever. So beyond proud of you again. And I know I've said that so many times, but like, it takes so much to take that next step and be like, you know what, this is what I want to do. And there's so many, like, you know, when I was younger and I was into this kind of stuff, I was not willing to put in that work and that effort to do this, because I just thought like, you know, I'm not going to do that. I ran right into going into like business stuff, real estate. But I think it's really admirable that you're doing this, and someone's going to hear this and they're going to learn something from this, and you're doing something big, and I'm so proud of you.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
We're going to close out here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to Day to Day with Daidrien with my guest, Yas. And y'all have a great day.
Bye.